and gold? Are you ready to hoist the colors? Now, time for the most in-depth look at the world of ECU athletics. Welcome in to Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game. Watch the show live on Facebook and at 943thegame.com. Now, here's your host, Stephen Igo.
Welcome in, Hoist the Colors on a Tuesday. It is March 25th, a special edition of the show. We're going to be talking a lot of Major League Baseball. We are 2 days away from opening day, so we're going to hit it from an East Carolina perspective. We're going to dive into each division, make some playoff picks before this thing gets going, see how terrible we can do, as we often do with our preseason predictions. But we're going to have a lot of fun doing it. And I know there's a lot going on. We got ECU baseball at Duke tonight. That'll be carried, of course, on 94.3 The Game. Big game for the Pirates as they're looking to win their fourth in a row and take on a good midweek opponent on the road. So we'll have coverage of that, 94.3 The Game, 7 o'clock tonight. And we got Pro Day that happened earlier today. We'll recap that later in the week as well. Spring football ongoing. We'll have a lot of coverage of that. But today, gentlemen, we're talking Major League Baseball. We're talking ECU and the pros. We're doing it with Joseph Samson, Philip Pilkington. Joe, are you ready for some MLB?
I've waited the entirety of the offseason for this moment, for us to actually care, for us to not roll out Cookie Carrasco as a pitcher and try and analyze whether or not this is going to be an opening day lineup. But we're here.
We are here.
We are less than, at this time, 51 hours?
Yeah, buddy.
51 hours from opening day with Joe Buck back where he belongs on the call.
I mean that's nice. Joe Buck, though, my least
Joe
favorite
Buck,
announcer.
Bob Costas.
Are you saying that?
I'd much rather Joe Buck.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I agree.
I'd much rather Joe Buck. As Bob Costas tells me some story about shoeless Joe Jackson not being able to get into a bar in 1957, and that's why they lost. I'm sick of it.
That's why they lost, dude. That was like 36 years later.
Exactly.
Look, I don't know how it was when you guys were growing up, but the voice of Sunday Night Baseball, John Miller and Joe Morgan, those were the best. And
oh yeah.
It's just not the same anymore. I mean, I guess
It's
ESPN
not.
doesn't even want to broadcast baseball, it sounds like. So
Fine.
We can have that discussion.
Which is fine.
Whatever, we'll talk about it. Philip, your Red Sox look like they're at least trying to win this year, and so I know that has to have you fired up as they've made some big moves this offseason. So you ready for some baseball?
I am. They have. I'm ready to see what this pitching staff can do. It's weird. They're a little too deep at some positions and not deep enough at others. So we'll see if they have to make some moves come the deadline. You just got to be a contender so that you can make the moves that are there. So hopefully things stay healthy on the mound. And Dom's got me all pumped up because Dom goes way too in depth with this stuff.
Hey, baseball junkies, man. That's the best way to do it. All right, so to give you guys an idea listening how this show is going to go, segment 1, which is the segment we're in now, it's going to be mainly ECU focused. We'll dive into that here in a minute. We'll also get Joe's explanation why he hates the St. Louis Cardinals, and if we have time, we'll recap some of the big offseason moves. Segment 2, we'll do our American League preview. Segment 3, our National League preview. And then segment 4, we'll have our playoff picks, who's making the playoffs, who do we think is going to win the World Series, and our award winners for AL Cy Young, NL Cy Young, AL MVP, and NL MVP. All right, so let's start on the ECU front, guys. Plenty of storylines, and I'll run over these real quick before we dive into each individual player. Alec Burleson with the Cardinals, Connor Norby with the Marlins, Clayton McCullough now managing the Marlins, first-time manager, former ECU catcher. Gavin Williams with the Guardians. Jeff Hoffman signs with the Toronto Blue Jays. Looks like he'll be the closer there. Sean Armstrong, journeyman reliever, now with the Texas Rangers. We'll take a look at each of their situations and kind of break down. I said an over-under for each guy. And as I ask you the over-under question, you guys can also kind of expand on what your expectations for each situation is. So we'll start with Alec Burleson, who's really coming off a strong year for St. Louis. Saw him at an East Carolina basketball game earlier this year. It was good to see him in town over the winter. He hit .269 with 21 home runs, 78 RBIs last year for St. Louis in 152 games. Became a mainstay in that lineup. I'm setting the over-under for batting average at .270. So he hit 269 last year. Do we think he goes over or under 270? We'll start with you, Joe, and you can add any thoughts on Burley as well.
Yeah, it's all the love to Burley, and I just think he's going to see less pitches this year. I have him under. I think he's going to experience more walks. I think he's not going to get as many pitches to hit, considering the depletion of that lineup now with Goldschmidt leaving and heading to the Yankees. I just think there's a difference in how the roster is going to be constructed. Nolan Gorman's going to be a huge mainstay for them at the top of the order now that he's no longer a prospect. But I just think it's going to be very interesting. Joe Adell as well signs with them. The former Angels outfielder now has been in big league camp with them. We'll see if he makes the opening day roster for them. So I'm going to go under. I just don't think he sees as many pitches in that spot.
What do you think, Mr. Pilkington?
I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to go over, and I think this is his second year as a everyday big leaguer, right? Starting almost every game, and I think there's always a big jump from year 1 to year 2. Now, he could also hit the sophomore slump. Obviously, this isn't his true sophomore season, but I think he's just going to come into his own. He's going to feel a little more at home playing first base as opposed to the outfield. I know he started in the outfield, but let's be honest, he doesn't really have the speed to be a consistent big league outfielder. And I think he's going to be a little more relaxed at the plate, and he's used to big league pitching now. So I think this is a guy who's going to be a career 300-ish hitter, maybe a little under, and that's about where he looks for this year, hitting up in the 290, 295 range.
Alec Burleson, gentlemen, has elite ball to bat to ball skills, however you want to phrase it. Last year, he struck out just 13% of the time, 12.8% to be exact. That was 7th best in Major League Baseball, up there with the likes of Luis Arias, Stephen Kwan, Mookie Betts, Jose Ramirez. So he's very tough to strike out. He's not very patient. He doesn't walk a lot, although, like Joe said, I am very interested to see, does he walk more this year because he's more of a known commodity? We'll find out. I think he hits above 270, just slightly. I'm going over. But I'm looking forward to a big year out of Burleson. And hopefully he stays healthy and has that breakthrough season that many of us envision. All right, next up on the list, guys, Connor Norby. Unfortunately, recently suffered an oblique injury. I know he's getting imaging done on that, so he may end up missing the start of the season, which isn't ideal. That could also potentially affect our over-under here. Expected to play third base this year with the Marlins. So he hit 9 home runs, guys, last year in 45 Major League Baseball games. I set the over-under at 19.5 for the season. Obviously, a 162-game season. If he played a whole season, that would lean towards hitting the over. But first year as a full-time starter, you're going to experience growing pains and then the injuries. So, Joe, what do you think about Connor Norby and the Marlins this year?
I got to take the under, and that's no hatred to it. I just don't know if the Marlins have enough around Norby, especially he'll be coming back from the oblique strain. You got to have somebody to take the pressure off him in the lineup. I just don't think they have it. It's not going to be Jake Berger anymore by any means, and I just don't know if Norby's going to be able to do that. They'll probably pencil him to the top of the order. I don't see him in a cleanup spot, so he's probably going to hit 16 or 17 bombs. He could hit 21 bombs, and I'm absolutely eating my words, and he'll text me and tell me about it, but I just don't see him hitting over 20.
The weird thing about this one is going to be, Joe, you mentioned the lineup not being great. Does he have to compensate for that and try and change the game with one swing? If he does, then he's going to hit the over. If the lineup, I think, finds a little bit of continuity, he's going to realize that he is a guy who does a very good job putting the ball in play, and he can do that. I'm with you. I'm going to go the under here. I think there's going to be a little more pressure being a full-time big league starter. I think last year he was almost playing with house money when he got traded.
Yeah.
He wasn't really expecting to be in the big league lineup every day. He just kind of got to go out there and have fun. Well, now it's no longer fun. It's business. Baseball is zero fun, sir, the same way football would be if Herman Boone was your head football coach. So I think he's going to have to be a little more dialed in, and because of that, he's going to be more worried about putting the ball in play as well as, like you said, you're just going to go through ups and downs of the season, so I'm going to go slightly under.
I'm going to go under as well. I think 17, 18 is a good range in that. And, the oblique injury, just don't know how long that'll affect. That can be a tough thing to come back for a hitter. Speaking of the Marlins, we should be paying a lot of attention to the Marlins this year because Clayton McCullough is going to be his first time manager with the Miami Marlins. Now, I said the win total for the Marlins is the same as Vegas, 63.5. That would be just shy of 100 losses. Look, the Marlins are projected to be the third worst team in the league behind the Rockies and the White Sox. We'll see if they're that bad. Over under 63.5 wins, Joe.
I'm taking the over. I have them at right about 67 to 68 wins, steal a couple, because you're going to get into those rubber match games. You're going to get to a team like the Yankees, like the Dodgers, like the Phillies, who want to rest somebody and kind of throw out, and not a garbage lineup, but a throwaway game lineup because they don't need it. It's a quick getaway day. They have to try and play the next day after that and save some starters. And they're going to steal a couple games that way. I have them 67, 68 wins.
Yeah, I think they go over. I don't think the NL is real top heavy. I think a lot of teams in the National League are beatable. It's kind of a meh league. Of course, I go and I can't talk about this. It seems like no one's got a phenomenal rotation this year at all.
No.
Like 1 through 5 in the entirety of Major League Baseball. So I think especially when you get in the dog days of summer, you're going to be maybe facing some pitchers that are not phenomenal starters because the team will lose a guy or two due to injury, and you're going to be able to steal some wins. I think this year you're going to maybe not have the bottom teams as bad and the top teams as good. Seems like it's a little more evenly spread out talent-wise among the 30 big league teams.
I think the Marlins will be able to pitch. I just don't see how they're going to score many runs. I mean, this lineup, guys, I don't see a lot outside of Norby and
There is no lineup.
and Stowers. They do get Sandy Alcantara back, and if he's healthy, he could be a Cy Young sleeper. Cal Quantrill's not a terrible number 2 starter, but it falls off pretty quickly after them. I'm gonna go under. I think they get 63 wins on the nose. I think it's gonna be a tough year. I'm gonna go 63 and 99. I think that math adds up for the Marlins.
It does.
All right, Gavin Williams with the Cleveland Guardians dealt with an injury last year. He's had just 3 wins each of the past 2 seasons. I'm setting the over. I had trouble with this one. I set the over-under at 7.5 wins. If he has a healthy season, I think that's definitely doable. That would be more than double. He also has 0 run support with Cleveland. So can they score some runs for once in a Gavin Williams start? What do you got, Joe?
I got to take the under. It's so hard to get wins as a starting pitcher these days in baseball, especially if you're going to be not necessarily nursing a lineup, but you're not going to have run support, so you're going to be a little more exclusive with your pitching. You're going to try not to put stuff over the zone, try not to put it in play. And that's what Gavin does really well. But if you get into a game and you get to the 4th inning and it's 7-6, God forbid for the Indians or the Guardians, excuse me. Oh, there it goes. Clip that one.
It's only a matter of time.
Yeah, I know.
So Joe,
I don't see them getting 7.
Yeah. Going under. What about you, Phil?
Yeah, I'm taking the under.
I think if he stays healthy, he's got what it takes to get the over. The tough thing is they're the 4th best team in their division, clearly, right? They're better than the White Sox, but the other 3 are better. I don't know. I'm going to go gutsy here and just go over for the sake of going over. It's probably not going to happen, but I have faith in Gavin. He's got the stuff, man. If he's healthy, he can go out there and win you a 3-1 baseball game and get you 6 innings of good work. So I think he wins a couple of those. And like you said, now starting pitchers don't go as deep. But, yeah, sure. Why not? Let's go over. He gets 8 or 9.
Why not? Something positive.
I'm going to go over as well. I think Cleveland has that random pitcher every few years who just kind of comes out of nowhere and becomes a stud. I think Gavin is that guy this year. They can produce pitching. Now, will he get enough run support? I don't know. That's a totally different question. But I think, as Philip said, he'll be healthy this year, I'm hoping, and I think he starts enough to get in that 8 to 10 win range. So I'm going over. All right, next up on the list, Jeff Hoffman saves. Now, he has only saved, I think, 12 career games, but that's because with the Phillies last year, he was more their setup guy. Now he's projected to be the top closer, although the Blue Jays are probably used by committee. I set the over-under for saves at 20. Jeff Hoffman saves for the coming season, getting a 3-year, I think $39 million deal with Toronto, so good for him. What do you think, over-under saves for Jeff Hoffman, Joe?
I got the under. He's probably at 16 or 17. 20's a lot of appearances, a lot of save opportunities, especially when it comes to the Blue Jays. It could be Simber. It could be one of those cases where they trot somebody out late. It could be one of those games where they don't actually go a closer at all and they just use him to eat up innings because they need to. I just don't necessarily see him saving that many games, especially when they change the save requirements now to being 3 runs instead of 5 runs.
Yeah, I think the reason why I'm going to go under is because what is a closer? I think the closer is maybe dead in baseball. Some teams are going to truly have one, but what we call it now is a high leverage guy, right? And sometimes that high leverage is the 9th, but sometimes that high leverage is the 6th. And I haven't looked at their contracts. He is the highest paid guy in their bullpen, or if not, he's top 2 or 3. And if you're paying a guy that much out of your pen, you're going to use him when the moment matters most. Like you said, with them changing the requirements now as well. Yeah, I'm going to go under. I think he's going to have I think he'll go over 20 successful high leverage situations. I think he goes under 20 saves.
Yeah. Agreed.
All right, good answer. To be different here, I'm going to go over. Jordan Romano with the Blue Jays as their previous closer had 36 and 23, 36 and 22, 23 and 21. Last year just had 8, but he only had 15 games due to injury. Give me the over. If Jeff Hoffman lives up to expectations, I think he gets enough chances based on the history. All right, final ECU over-under. Sean Armstrong, tough one here because relievers are weird, and Sean Armstrong's had a unique career path. He's 33. He bounced around 3 different teams last year, made 57 appearances, made 39 in 2023, made 43 appearances in 22. I set the over-under at 50, probably a tick high here, but if he's healthy, he could easily reach it after 57 last year. He's now with the Rangers. What do you think? Sean Armstrong appearances over under 50, Joe?
I'm going to go over. I think they're going to use him in a lot of spots that aren't necessarily high leverage or low leverage situations. Could be matchup. Could be the fact that they have 3 lefties coming up in the lineup and they want to use him as a get over guy to try and set them up for a big spot. I just think he kind of lends himself to a really good spot for them in that situation. And I think that especially now as the game's expanded, you don't have to throw 25 pitches every time anymore. You face 3 batters, you throw 13 pitches, you can pitch again tomorrow.
What you got, Phil?
Sorry, I was getting a call and I had to decline it. Did you go over? You went over?
Is it Greenville Utilities?
No.
Yeah, I went over.
I'm gonna go under. Journeyman guys tend to be in the 35 to 40 range. If he has a really good year and they have some injuries to their starters who are ancient, and bring some of these other bullpen guys into starting roles, that would help him hit the over. But I'm gonna go under.
I'm going under as well. I was doing some reading. I hope he hits the over, but I think the Rangers have a couple prospects they want to get some innings this year out of the pen, and so
Yeah,
I feel like he could hit the under. Honestly, he profiles as a guy who could potentially be DFA'd if he struggles during the season just due to contract and all that stuff. But he would latch on with another team in that instance, and often relievers do, like last year, accumulate multiple stints over multiple teams. All right, final thing here. Those are all the guys we know are going to start the season in the big leagues or on the big league roster. Debut watch. Carson Whisenhunt with the Giants is knocking on the door of the big leagues. He's one of their top prospects, plus changeup. Looking at their depth rotation in the starting rotation, they could need him sooner rather than later. Zach Agnos is not a top prospect for the Rockies, but the Rockies always need pitching, and he led, I think, the minor leagues in saves last year. He could get a shot. And then I put Trey Savage up here just because of how good he is, but likely 2026 since he hasn't pitched in pro. But I don't know, Joe, who do you think we see from that list debut in 25?
I got to go Agnos. He had a really long stint in big league camp with the Rockies. I mean, all 3 of us sitting right now on this show have won the NL West as many times as the Rockies, so there's always a need for help there. There's always a conversation for relief pitching, and I think that his stuff really lends itself. He had a great year in Hartford last year in the back half of the year. Whisenhunt also is an interesting case. I think if Verlander goes down, the conversation is there. I think they bring him up. They try and get him some innings, try and get him some experience. That's a team that's not built to contend by any means, but is not built to tank, as we'd call it in sports media. But I think it could be a good spot for him. It's wishful thinking. I don't think Savage comes up. You don't pay that kind of money or draft him in the first overall or the first round as you would, and then use him that immediately into the season unless you're Paul Skeens. It's just not how it goes. It's not what things are. You want to develop him, create him into your longtime ace, especially with the way that these CBA contracts run. So I don't see it. I would love to joke about it and say JJC could make a run. I just don't think he has enough at bats yet, but he had a phenomenal spring training with the Marlins as well.
I'm going Wiz only. I think Agnos would if it still got to 40 at the end of the year, but with it only expanding a couple spots at the end of the year. I don't know, man. He would have to show some AAA. Yeah, he was great last year in the lower levels, but if he gets up and he's in AAA in mid-May, yeah, maybe we're changing this conversation. I just don't see it happen. Wiz, look, dude, somebody's getting injured, right? And like you said, they're not in a rebuild stage. They're in a we've already built. We just need to get experience to guys stage. I think they're going to want to get them in there, especially come August when it kind of like he said they're out of it, but like they want to learn how they want to teach young guys how to win baseball games in the majors, and he's going to be in a good spot to get that call up. And it might only be 2 or 3 starts, but I think there's an opportunity, especially if a guy goes maybe on the 20-day IL.
Wisdom Hunt last year, 135 strikeouts and 104 innings, but walk 53. Does struggle with command, but plus stuff. All right, we'll get a break in. We'll come back. We will touch on the American League. All of our teams are in the American League. My Seattle Mariners, Phillips Red Sox, Joe's Yankees. We'll discuss the AL in depth after this.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
Living easy is the sound of children laughing as you make memories with neighbors and friends. It's the sound of nothing at all. It's the smell of the salt air. Hear the waters against the marsh grass. See the beauty of our coast. Bow Coast, located in Beaufort, North Carolina. Southern Living's best small town.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked to order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human, about creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
Big tax credits are back. Get a 30% tax credit, up to $2,000 off your new Mitsubishi electric heat pump install. Let Comfort Master help you take advantage of the tax credits with a qualifying Mitsubishi electric ducted heat pump or non-ducted Mitsubishi electric mini splits. Mitsubishi electric mini splits are ideal for bonus rooms, garages, or sunrooms. If you need a new HVAC unit, call Comfort Master today.
Call Comfort Master. Call Comfort Master.
Everything you need to know in the world of ECU athletics. This is Hoist the Colors with Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game.
Welcome back into the show. It is a Tuesday edition, March 25th, our Major League Baseball preview special. We just talked a lot of ECU in Major League Baseball. Now we're going to look around at the league. Opening day is Thursday. Joe Samson with us, Philip Pilkinen producing, Stephen Igo here. So how we're going to do this, we're going to switch it up a little bit. We're going to look at the AL now. We'll go ahead and give our AL playoff picks as well as we do this. So throwing a little bit of a curveball to you, Joe. We'll see if you swing and miss or hit it for a home run. We'll start just the AL East. Look, I mean, it's the Yankees, Red Sox, Orioles are the consider the favorites. The Blue Jays are kind of sneaky as well. I would say the Yankees are the clear favorite to win the division, but it wouldn't surprise me if any of these 4 teams. And then the Rays are just always annoying and somehow good when you don't expect it. Although McClanahan's already hurt, so that's not ideal. AL East, You guys, you're an expert in your field here, so I'll throw it to you guys for this one. Yankees, Red Sox, one of them winning the division, guys. We'll start with Joe.
No. It's Bobby's Orioles. It hurts me to say it's one of those years. The Yankees are favored. The Yankees are supposed to be good on paper. Great. The Orioles are going to win 110 games for no reason and get bounced in the first round. That's what happens. Well, maybe not the first round. They'll probably have the best record in baseball, losing the second round because they have the bye. But still, that's what's going to happen. This is not going to be the normal, the Yankees win the AL East by 13 and a half games like they're supposed to, and then there's a big three-way fight for the last wild card spot. It's not going to go that way. I think the Yankees are going to be comfortably in that first wild card spot because of the record, but I think the O's win the division handedly.
This is weird. This is the deepest division in baseball, 1 through 5. Let's
It
just say what it is.
It truly is.
And because of that, I don't think anyone is going to run away with it and win it by 13 games. Now, obviously, you only play 14 in division games as opposed to 19 per team, so that's 20 less games than you used to play. So there is more of an opportunity when you're not playing your own guys to kind of expand that lead, I guess, because let's be honest, you're not going to go out there and just sweep anybody every time you see them.
Well, maybe the White Sox.
No, I'm talking about in the AL East. You're not. Nobody's going to sweep anybody they see regularly.
True.
I mean, you might run into a sweep, but you're not going to. Hey, man, we went 12-2 against these guys. This is not going to happen. I think your Yankees are going to win it. I think it's going to be the final weekend that you do it, or the final week. I think it's going to be a dogfight, and I think with 2.5 weeks left in the season, we're going to be saying the Yankees could win the AL East, or they could miss the playoffs by a game, and I think you're going to get healthy at the right time and get hot at the right time. You're going to do it, but you're going to be hurt in mid-June, and everybody's going to count you out. You're going to be 6.5 games out of first place, and the Yankees will be told they suck, and they're hurt, and Judge is washed, and you'll find a way.
Yeah, this division is, like you guys said, it's very interesting because Yankees, Red Sox, Orioles are predominantly offensive oriented. Now, I do think the Red Sox pitching could be good this year with Crochet and Steiner, Walker, Buehler. Like, are they going to be healthy the whole year, especially Walker, Buehler? They also have Giolito coming back from injury. And then you got the Rays and the Blue Jays, who are more pitching oriented. As weird as it is to say about the Blue Jays, they were one of the top pitching teams last year, one of the worst hitting teams. Usually that's the opposite. So, I don't know. I'm going Yankees to win this division. I think the Yankees win it. I just think they're the best all-around team as it stands on paper. Obviously, 162-game season, a lot of things are going to change. I picked the Yankees to win the division last year when they were underdogs, as Joe said. I feel like the Orioles are just kind of – their rotation's not great. They kind of slumped in key spots in the second half offensively last year. Rutschman had a bad second half, so I'm kind of worried a little bit about the O's, although they still have tremendous talent. So you're going O's to win the division, Joe?
I am, as painful as it is to say.
And then Philip is going Yankees. Okay.
Yankees.
All right, there's our AL East picks. Let's look at the Central. God, I hate the AL Central. There's just something about it, man. The AL Central is just the most bland, boring division.
It's the AFC South of the MLB.
Yeah. So we'll spend as little time as possible in this division. Twins, Tigers, Royals all considered possible winners here. Guardians, underdogs, despite somehow randomly being good every few years. White Sox are horrendous still. They have a 0.1 chance to make the playoffs according to Fangraphs. So
that's probably an overstatement. 0.1?
So you're saying there's a chance.
0.1. All right.
Insanity.
Any thoughts here on – I think this is kind of a crapshoot, but who do you think wins the AL Central, Joe?
It's the Royals. I think it's the Royals. They've got Cole Reagans, Brady Singer. They've got a great rotation in the front half. Vinny Pasquantino is healthy as they're coming out of this. Bobby Witt is the perennial MVP candidate they need to. What's going to hurt them is the back half of the lineup. It's kind of a crapshoot when you get out there with Ref Snyder. You don't really have anybody anymore like a Benintendi who can get on base from that left field side. And they got a couple switch hitters that'll probably come up from the minors to be on the roster, probably not the first week, maybe the second or third week of the season. And I think the Central is just that bad. I do think, however, the Tigers sneak into the playoffs as that 6th wildcard team. They were really good at the end of last year. And Javier Baez, if he can remember how to play baseball, and Gleyber Torres is a phenomenal bat when he decides he doesn't have to play defense.
I'm with you, man. KC's going to win it because they're the fun young team. This is going to kind of portray them in what could be a phenomenal run.
Mm-hmm.
The run doesn't start this year. I don't think they're going to have a lot of playoff success this year. I could be wrong, but they don't have the depth to be great. But they're in a division that's not great, and they're the most complete team, especially rotation-wise in the division. Give me Kansas City.
I love everything about the Royals except the outfield. They're still relying on MJ Melendez and Hunter Renfroe and Kyle Isbell. They need an outfield upgrade.
Kyle Isbell is going to have a season. I'm telling you.
The Sox like to send outfielders to the Red Sox. We've got like 14 outfielders. We'll trade them somebody at the deadline.
But it may
you
not.
guys sent him Jackie Bradley Jr. at one point.
Yeah, Benintendi, Ref Snyder. I mean, yeah.
It may not matter if you have Bobby Witt just doing everything at the top of the order. They're
Also
pitching Cole Reagan, Seth Lugo, Michael Wacha, solid and good bullpen, really good bullpen. I have the Royals winning this division too. I'm a little worried. Historically in baseball, the teams that make a huge jump then fall back the next year. Now, the one time this did not happen was with the Orioles when they made a huge jump, then still made the playoffs the next year. But if you look at the history of baseball, if a young team goes from like mid or below average to huge success, usually they fall back the next year. I think that's happening with one of the Tigers or the Royals. I just don't know which one. But I'm going Royals to win the division and the AL Central. All right, AL West. Fangraphs has the Seattle Mariners as the favorite to win the division. As a Mariners fan, I'm not buying it. Look, they've got an elite rotation. They could have an elite bullpen. But the offense is still abysmal. And unless Julio Rodriguez shows up in MVP form, this team is not winning anything. Is that possible? Yes. But this is the Astros division, as painful as that is to say. Until they lose it, I'm going Astros to win the AL West. Joe.
I completely agree. And it's up until they prove they can't do it. Because every single year, I get up here and I say, oh, maybe the Astros don't have it this year. Maybe they've lost too much talent. Maybe they're not going to be able to do what they did in the past. And then every single year I get shut up except for last year. It's abysmal. It's atrocious. I can't believe I have to do this. I'm picking them to win the division. I think they're the second best team in the AL also by record. I think they win that many games. It just hurts to say.
I'm going to counter agree with you here, but because I said the AL East, no one will win it comfortably. I think they will have the best record. I don't know if they're going to be the best team.
I
think they might have the best record in the American League. I'm going Astros.
The Houston Astros is he playing outfield now?
Apparently left field.
He's going to play left field.
He's in left.
Midget
and then,
boy?
Yes. And then Cam Smith, the right fielder they traded for from the Kyle Tucker trade starting on opening day.
They, losing Bregman, losing Kyle Tucker. Obviously no more Verlander.
Still got Alvarez.
Yeah. We'll see.
Valdez.
Again, for me, it's a situation they've got to be knocked off the throne for me to buy into them.
Yeah.
All right, so there are your division winners. Let's go wild card predictions. I've got the Red Sox making it out of the AL East.
In the order?
In this order?
Yeah, I was going to put my order, but do you care? Okay.
Yeah, this is how I have it slotting in. Red Sox out of the AL East. The Minnesota Twins, I think, are a bit more stable this year. I think they're going to make it out of the Central as the second wildcard team. Then I have the Rangers making it as the third. It's an odd year for Bruce Bochy. Joe.
We're in a similar spot. I have Yankees, and then I have the Rangers, and then I have the Tigers. Rangers at the 5 for me. I think they're going to be the second best team in the West. It's not going to be close. Unfortunately for your Mariners, I just think they have too much. Leiter, Rocker, Jacob deGrom. Yeah, we forgot about that guy. Nathan Eovaldi. Their pitching is just – he doesn't have to be anything more than win them 4 games. That's still 4 more games on top of your win total. And then Jack Leiter comes up. And then they decide Kumar Rocker can play baseball again. That's what they're going to do. It's infuriating. I wish there was other teams that could just have a form system like that and be likable, but there aren't.
Hey, Jack Leiter had a negative 1.6 WAR last year. He can pitch against the Mariners all he wants to. He's been pretty bad.
He's looked pretty nasty in spring.
Yeah, it's all going to come down to how good those guys are. Because let's be honest, all those good arms you just named, Joe, they're going to not last the entirety of the year. Nate Eovaldi, DeGrom, and whoever I'm missing. Is it Scherzer? Is he still there?
Scherzer is not
No,
there.
who's the third? There's another old guy. Who's the other old guy?
Eovaldi.
Oh, no, I said Eovaldi. DeGrom.
You said Eovaldi.
Texas Rangers
DeGrom, Eovaldi.
rotation. They've got Eovaldi, DeGrom, Tyler Mahle, John Gray, Patrick Corbin. They just signed Patrick Corbin. That's how good the Rangers pitching is.
Yeah.
What year is it?
I don't know. But, yeah, Gray won't last the whole year. But, I think if these young guys come up and pitch well, I'm going to slot them actually in as the second wild card. So I'm going to go Red Sox at 1. I'm going to go the Rangers at 2. And I'm going to go the Tigers as the third team.
At 3. Yep. I have the same, except I have the Yankees as the first wild card team in.
All right, there is your AL preview. I kind of like it that none of us are picking the Mariners to do anything. Maybe this is the year. Highly doubtful. All right, we'll get a break in. We'll come back. National League preview and picks on the way after this.
Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
252-946-1227.
Looking for a great deal on a new Nissan? At Greenville Nissan, we've got a great selection of new Nissans for under $30,000. The stylish Nissan Sentra, offering top-notch fuel economy. The Nissan Altima, known for its comfort and technology. The Nissan Kicks, the perfect combination with its compact design and performance. The Nissan Versa, delivering incredible value without compromising on features. And don't forget the Nissan Rogue, an award winner for 10 years in a row. Drive it home just for $22 down and $349 a month. Visit GreenvilleNissan.com today. Greenville Nissan, where we drive to serve.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Your confidence makes everything look good. You see the world in vivid color, not black and white. Swing through your neighborhood Fantastic Sam's Cut in Color and let our experienced stylists take you from everyday to extraordinary.
Fantastic Sam's hair salons are locally owned and operated. Our full-service salons are conveniently located in Goldsboro, Kinston, Greenville, New Bern, Jacksonville, and Calabash. Stop in today at Fantastic Sam's, where the possibilities are endless.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked to order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
252-946-1227.
Pirate fans, 2025 East Carolina football season tickets are on sale now and can be purchased for as little as $115. Head coach Blake Harrell wants you to be a part of his first full season as the Pirate coach as he builds momentum off of the 8-win season and the Military Bowl win over North Carolina State. Call 1-800-DIAL-ECU or go to ECUPirates.com today to get your 2025 season tickets.
Hell yeah! Hell yeah! Hell yeah!
We're live with Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game.
Hoist the Johnny Roger!
Now, back to Hoist the Colors.
Welcome back in, Hoist the Colors here. It is our MLB preview special. Philip Pilkington producing, Joe Samson alongside. It's time to go National League. We just made our American League picks. We'll talk about the NL now. We'll start with the NL East. Do the Braves have a healthy bounce-back season? According to FanGraphs, they are the clear favorite to win the division and make the playoffs, even over the Mets and Phillies. I think there's no way the Braves have two down seasons in a row. And but this should be a fun one to follow, guys. Braves, Phillies, Mets. Any of them can win the division. Although the Mets will find a way to probably screw it up. But I don't know, Joe. What do you think?
I think the Mets and the Braves find a way to screw it up. I think it's the Phillies. I think that they're a veteran team at this point who knows what they need to do, the expectations. They have all the pieces. And I think last year there was a lot of question marks within their lineup of how Bryce Harper was going to look at first base on a full season and what they were going to do at the top half of the lineup with Reese no longer being on the team. And I think they answered those questions. I don't think the Mets are there yet. I think one more year they need to settle in. I think the Alonso drama of the offseason really kind of soured some things within that lineup of where they're going to put it. Mark Vientos isn't going to be your big power hitter by any means, and Juan Soto's Juan Soto. I'm not disputing that for a second, and Lindor's great, but I don't know if they have the team 2 through 9 that they need to.
Yeah, I almost feel like this is one of the last. Like the Phillies' window is closing. Like they got to get it done sooner rather than later. Maybe another year or two. But Harper getting older, their rotation like Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola aren't going to be good forever. I don't know. Like I feel like this might be their last shot. What do you think, Philip, with this division?
Yeah, that's the thing. I think, obviously part of what made the Braves still really competitive last year was the Chris Sale looking like prime Chris Sale. But I think with him being more healthy, I think they get it done. I really do. Like you said, the Phillies window's kind of closing. I think they're one of those teams that needs to maybe get tired in August, look bad at the end of the year, and then get hot at the right time kind of thing like they did when they won it a couple of years ago. But I think they're going to hit some slump, I think, just due to age that's going to hurt them just enough, and the Braves take it by 2 or 3 games. So I'm going Braves. Who'd you actually pick, Igo?
I'm going Braves. I'm betting on the Braves bounce back with my fantasy team. I have Austin Riley and Ozzie Albies and Spencer Strider. So this is more of a hopeful pick than anything. But I'm going Braves. Like I just think they're too good when they're healthy. I mean, their lineup is still ridiculous. So like Matt Olson should have a bounce back year. The one thing that does worry me is their rotation. Like, is Chris Sale really going to have another healthy year?
No.
Probably not.
No. Probably not.
Reynaldo Lopez, are we like buying that he's going to be that good again as a starter? So like I am nervous about the rotation, but I think they can add midseason. I do think Strider will be okay coming off injury. He's looked great in the spring. So they'll score a lot of runs. Can they pitch is my question there. All right. NL Central, the Cubs are considered the favorite on paper. They're already 0-2, though, after the Japan series, for what that's worth. The Brewers somehow find a way to be good despite not really looking that good on paper. And then there's the Cardinals. We know that Joe loves the Cardinals, and I'm sure he's got them winning the division, right, Joe?
I hate this division. I hate everyone in it. I have the Reds. I think the Reds are poised to do what they need to do. They're a young team. Ellie De La Cruz is phenomenal. Francona is taking over managerial responsibilities, which got them into a lot of trouble last year. They didn't have the right late game selection. They didn't use the right guys in the bullpen. They didn't go to the right guys in high leverage situations. Tyler Friederson is going to have another huge year also. I think that's going to be beneficial for them going forward. And I just think they got a young core. Jose Trevino behind the dish is going to be good for those young pitchers who are starting to come into their own. Hunter Green could take that next step that he needs to. I just think that the Reds get it done.
I think the Reds are a lot like Kansas City. Now, I'm saying their holes are in different places, of course, but as far as that type of division they're in and their ceiling is in the same spot, and I think it's kind of the young, exciting pick maybe, and maybe it's not smart to go with that both ways, but I'm going Reds as well.
The Reds, I kind of like the Reds pick here because they were supposed to be the team last year that was supposed to break out, and then they just had a bunch of injuries, so like they're kind of a sleeper this season, but they have that same young talent. If they stay healthy, they can make a run. But I'm going Cubs. I think the Cubs are the best team all around, and I think they end up winning this division in the NL Central. All right, NL West, I mean, it's the Dodgers division. We don't even need to make a pick here unless Joe just wants to be different. But any other storylines you're watching in this division in the NL West, Joe?
The Padres. The Padres are my first NL wild card team in. I think they have all the right pieces. Michael King looked great last year. Johnny Burrito is going to be a huge mainstay for them as he starts to develop back into this lineup. And I just think that all the pieces they have, their window's closing also. They're in a similar situation like the Phillies. They've got a couple young stars, and then they've got an aging Manny Machado and Jake Cronenworth that they really need to capitalize on their window. I have them at the 4. I have them as the first wild card team in. I don't think they steal the division away from the Dodgers by any means, but I also don't think that the Dodgers are the best record in baseball.
Here I'm watching the Giants. Like, I don't really know what the Giants are. They don't have a good farm system. They're like, are they even that good? At least they're trying. I'll give them credit for that. They signed,
unlike the Rockies.
Exactly, unlike the Rockies, who for some reason won't trade away some of their best players for prospects. But either way, they're just stuck in purgatory. The Giants signed Willie Adames.
Who are the Rockies' best players? They have good players.
Chris Bryant from 2017.
Yeah.
He was hurt the whole year.
I didn't say he was good. I said he was their best player.
Fair enough.
The Giants signed.
Just traded the other one.
They got Matt Chapman, Willie Adames. They also have Robbie Ray and Verlander. Like, how is Verlander still pitching? But I guess that's trying to sign him. So I mean, they're attempting to win. I don't think it's going to amount to much, but Giants are randomly kind of good every 5 years at this point. So maybe this is one of those years. I do like the Padres. They've kind of continued to fly under the radar since the Juan Soto trade, and yet have been good. I think they will make the playoffs as well. A little spoiler. Anything you're watching here, Philip?
I think you guys kind of hit on it. It's going to be how well can the Giants come together. I think we know what the Padres are, or at least can be, and they should live up to that. It's a matter of whether or not the Giants can. So I'll just go quick here. I've got the Phillies as my first wild card, Padres as my second. I got the Cubs as the third.
I've got Phillies, Mets, Padres making the playoffs. I have the Diamondbacks out. What do you got, Joe? Excuse me.
Padres, Mets, Braves. Braves are my last team, and I think the Mets get just enough wins to get them over the hump, but I think that the Padres could have won any division besides the West.
All right, there are your AL and NL playoff picks. We'll get a final break in. Cy Young MVP picks on the way. We'll also wrap up closing thoughts on the season to come, MLB on the way.
It's time to bring on the savings at Greenville Toyota with huge discounts on over 125 new Toyotas, like a Camry, $269 a month, or RAV4, $339 a month. Now bring yourself to Greenville Toyota and save.
The team of Flatlands Jessup is working overtime to help ensure that Eastern North Carolinians like you get the health insurance help you need this open enrollment period. New legislation passed, meaning more people than ever qualify for affordable coverage. Let us help you today.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers does real burgers better than anybody. And don't forget about the cheese sticks, fresh salads, and more. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, burgers and sports at its best.
Everybody loves Tiebreakers.
Big tax credits are back. Get a 30% tax credit, up to $2,000 off your new Mitsubishi electric heat pump install. Let Comfort Master help you take advantage of the tax credits with a qualifying Mitsubishi electric ducted heat pump or non-ducted Mitsubishi electric mini splits. Mitsubishi electric mini splits are ideal for bonus rooms, garages, or sunrooms. If you need a new HVAC unit, call Comfort Master today.
Call Comfort Master. Call Comfort Master.
Tired of the 1-800 numbers advertising Medicare products? Flatlands Jessup has 6 offices all throughout Eastern North Carolina. Get face-to-face help from our local award-winning licensed team. Stop by today. Flatlands Jessup, your whole world covered.
Your roof is a vital part of protecting your home and family from dangerous storms and hurricanes. At Assist Roofing, we install and maintain metal roofing that provides precise protection. Add value to your home while lowering utility costs with a fortified roof to last a lifetime. With 0% financing, grants, and Energy Star Green Roofing tax credit available. Call us to schedule a free consultation so you can weather any storm with confidence.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt & Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Get ready, because it's time to bring on the savings at Greenville Toyota. Get huge discounts on over 125 new Toyotas, like a Corolla, $239 a month, or Tacoma, $349 a month. Bring on the savings today at Greenville Toyota.
Climb aboard as we set sail and hoist the colors.
Arr, matey!
Back to the show with Steve and I go on 94.3 The Game.
All right, welcome back in. Final segment here of our MLB preview. Opening day just a few days away again. This Thursday, they'll throw out the first pitch on a new season, although technically it's already started if you stayed up for the Japan series, but this is the real thing on American soil. All right, we have made our playoff picks. Now it's time to make our – let's do awards first, then we'll go World Series. So we got Joe Samson, we got Philip Pilkington. AL Cy Young. Last season, it was – why am I blanking on it? Skubal from the Tigers. I'm not a big pick major award winners back-to-back, although I'll change that here in a second.
I will also.
But what do you got, AL Cy Young, Joe?
I think it's Cole Reagans. I think he takes the step. Hopefully his elbow doesn't blow up in the first inning like it did last year. But I just think he has the right stuff. I think the Central's a weak division where he can get a lot of wins, throw a lot of innings, and build his resume, so to speak, of being such a dominant pitcher. He's a fastball guy, but he's got good stuff in the secondary, good sweeper, good slider down and away. And I think he knows how to pitch now at this level.
Philip?
I'm going to kind of go with another guy that I think's in a weak division, just to be different. I'm going to go Framber Valdez. Obviously the Rangers are good. Mariners are okay, but they can't hit real well. So I think some of that, as well as getting the A's and the Angels, is just really going to help portray him forward, even if maybe he isn't the most deserving. He's on the Astros, and sometimes these awards are kind of popularity contests.
Yeah, I'm going Cole Reagans as well. I think the one thing that worries me, huge innings jump last season, and he went from 71 innings in 23 to 186 last year. I mean, that is a huge jump. I'm a little concerned about that. But stuff-wise, 223 strikeouts last year and 186 innings. If he repeats what he did last year, it's almost like you win the award the year after you arrive on the scene. I think Reagans can do that. So I'm going Cole Reagans. Although I did want to pick Logan Gilbert, I'm going to stay away for now. I'm not picking any Mariners. I'm done. AL MVP. Gosh, I'm going Royals here. I'm going Bobby Witt. I've got the Royals winning MVP and Cy Young. Gosh, we'll have them winning the World Series. Joe.
Did you steal my sheet? I have Bobby Witt the same way.
My bad.
I just think it's okay. It's okay. Host gets to speak first. That's the rule.
I
think
Bobby
Witt takes the jump.
Yeah,
Bobby Witt makes the jump. He should have won last year. I'm not offended by who won last year, but by numbers, you could have said Bobby Witt should have won last year. Take it away, Philip.
Yeah, I think it's going to be kind of the same thing. I think Bobby's going to be the opposite this year, where he does win it, but I think there's going to be like a guy who should, but he's on a bad team, almost like a Stephen Kwan type, who really probably has it, but he's not a household enough name, and it's too much of a popularity contest, and they end up giving it to Witt.
Yeah, Bobby Witt, guys, 332 batting average last year, 32 homers, 109 RBI, 31 stolen bases, 977 OPS. Like, how did he not win the MVP?
He should have won last year.
That is like, if he repeats anything close to that, he should win it. All right, NL picks. My NL Cy Young, Paul Skeens, absolute dog. And if he's healthy, he's impossible to hit. Joe.
I think what's most terrifying about this pick is Skeens didn't even pitch a full season last year. He didn't start on opening day.
Correct.
And he was still the runaway Cy Young. I think it's the same spot for him this year. I don't think Ohtani's ever going to return to the form people think he is, where he can win a Cy Young. I was never that high on him as a pitcher in the first place. So I think it's Skeens' award to lose. Sandy Alcantara, if he does get his innings down, is a case for it down in Miami, considering the lack of run support he's going to have. He might have to play some hero ball to get his record up there, but it's him and Skeens, 1A, 1B.
Sophomore slump Paul Skeens. You heard it here first.
No shot.
The Pirates are bad, and he's going to have a sophomore slump. And I'm going to go with the guy I picked to win. I know. I'm going to go with the guy I picked to win the American League Cy Young last year that let me down. Going Corbin Burns. Shocks the world.
Okay.
Gets NL Cy Young.
I like Corbin Burns. I like that pick. I think that's a sneaky pick. MVP, Shohei Ohtani.
Yep.
I mean, like, how can you go anybody but Shohei? Anybody got any
No.
projections?
Until they try and turn him into a villain like LeBron back in 2012 and 2013 in the NBA and decide he's not winning any more awards, it's Shohei until they decide now.
The only way Ohtani will not win the Cy Young is if if he somehow gets implicated in another betting scandal.
No, he'd still probably win.
He did last year, and he's already got a homer and a double this year. So,
unfair.
We got about a minute left. Why do you hate the Cardinals, Joe?
We're not going to make World Series picks?
Oh, gosh, we got to do that. Well, go ahead and explain that in
fair.
30 seconds.
Yeah, the reason I hate the Cardinals is because it's a organizational malpractice every single year. You went from being one of the most prestigious organizations in the entirety of baseball with Albert Pujols, and you decided to become a laughingstock because all you wanted to do was throw contracts to people who were over the age of 35, and they decided they didn't know how to swing a baseball bat. And then you have young talent that you don't want to let play, and all of a sudden then Burley has to play 150 games last year when he should have been up 2 years ago.
You hate our state bird.
All right, World Series picks, Philip.
Dodgers over the Astros.
Yuck. Joe.
I agree.
I have Phillies over the Yankees, and that's mainly because I'm not high on anybody else on the AL side, and I think that the Dodgers have too much pressure.
I've got the Yankees over. In the AL, honestly, nobody else can make it, so somebody random will make it. But I've got the Yankees over the Atlanta Braves.
There you go. So it's going to be Royals over the Padres, just because we said none of that.
Yep.
Mariners over the Diamondbacks.
Oh, goodness.
All right. This was fun, Joe. Appreciate you.
Hey, go Yanks.
Go Mariners.
Go Sox.
We will be back Wednesday, 12 noon. We'll see you then.
Horns down.
This has been Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo. Tune in weekdays at noon for all things ECU sports. Get a recap of the show at 943thegame.com, on Twitter, Facebook, or anywhere you get your podcasts. We're back tomorrow with more of Hoist the Colors on 943 The Game.